Hey everybody, it's supposed to start raining soon, but we out here with the sushi socks, and I wanted to talk about Loctite today, and why I don't like Loctite, why I think it is kind of bad in a lot of ways. And basically Loctite, there's blue, there's red. It's like this liquid that you can put in screws and such, and then it will dry and harden, and then it'll keep screws from moving. And now I know that all sounds good, especially for a washer balisong, and it is. You do often need something to keep screws from moving. However, Loctite is not that great for that. So between the two types of Loctite, blue and the red, never use the red. Do not use Loctite red for balisongs. Loctite red is made to be like basically permanent, so don't use that for balisongs because you need to be able to take your balisongs apart. Unless you have the Benchmade Necron, in which case if you take it apart you will lose the warranty on it for some reason, even though it's a interchangeable weight system. But that's a whole nother topic. So Loctite blue is going to be the Loctite that you use if you use Loctite, and you just put it, get a drop of it on the screws, tighten down the screws on the pivots, wait 24 hours for it to fully set, and then you can flip your balisong without having to worry about the screws backing out. However, that's fine, but that's not the best thing to use. So first off, when it comes to balisong hardware, good hardware, especially in a bushing balisong, will not back out. So especially if you have a bushing balisong properly tuned, you should never need to use any form of Loctite or any thread locker at all, because the screws will be fully tightened down, and if that's the case, then they should not back out. On washer balisongs, you should also be able to get the screws tight enough that the screws won't back out, but a lot of times that's not the case because washer balisongs never have very good tolerances typically. Had a mosquito land on me, sorry about that. So if the tolerances are not good enough and you have to use something, what do you use? That, my friends, is where Teflon tape comes in. I believe that Teflon tape is the best thing to use in your pivots. And I believe this simply because with Loctite blue or Loctite red, basically locks the pivots in place. So it's like, imagine super gluing your pivots, the pivot screws, so that they don't move. That is essentially what Loctite does. Teflon tape is basically adding this like tape to the pivots, the screws, the threads, and that is going to increase the friction and the tightness and the tolerances of the screw threads. So now the screws don't back out because there's too much friction, but they're not actually glued in place, so the screw will still move basically just as easily as if there was nothing on it, but it's also not going to back out. So I think that for most general applications, Teflon tape is just the better option. The Teflon tape is just going to let you get a good tune on your balisongs without having to worry about screws backing out, but also you can easily take your balisong apart. You can do maintenance on it whenever you want, adjust the screws at any time without any difficulty. And on top of that, you typically don't have to like reapply the Teflon tape because it stays on the screw. You might need to over a long period of time perhaps, but Loctite you have to reapply every single time you take it apart, because at that point you've now like broken the seal of the glue. So you have to reapply it, wait another 24 hours, and for it to work best you would also want to clean off the screws and the pivots so that there's no leftover Loctite. And that's just a lot of work. So I think that Teflon tape is better. Loctite, not that great. The only time Loctite is decent is if you have a balisong with, say, Zen pins that fall out and you need to glue them back in. You can use Loctite for that. Although I will say that the Loctite is probably not going to keep the pins in very well. The pins in my Vault Pro, the Zen pin on the safe handle likes to come out, and I use Loctite to glue it back in, and eventually it'll just come out again. It's just something you got to deal with. But that was basically what I wanted to talk about today. If you guys have video suggestions, you can always leave them in the comments below. I read all of those. If you could subscribe, that would be great. We are trying to hit 700 subscribers before the end of the summer. I think that's doable. I want to get to 1,000 before the end of the year, though. I know that. That's our goal. So if you guys can help me reach that goal, that would be amazing. Yeah, that was pretty much all I had for you guys today. Hope you've all had a wonderful day, and until next time, keep flipping.